Hey guys, how's it going? Cobra1386 here, and welcome back to another one of my custom painted LEGO Star Wars minifigure showcase videos. Today we are looking at a set of 5 veteran Stormtrooper minifigures which I've painted. Before we get into it, I just want to say that my custom clone troopers, I have actually finished the first set, but when I put my protective lacquer on, I put an extra coat on by accident, so it's whitened all the figures. So I'm probably going to end up redoing those. But if you guys still want to see a video showing how they looked finished, let me know in the comment section down below. Otherwise I'll just skip on to the next load of them because I'm not entirely happy with how they turned out after the lacquer coat. So yeah, let me know about that down below, and let's get into looking at these individual figures. So here we have the first figure. This was just based on one of the Stormtroopers from the Rogue One Death Trooper Stormtrooper Battle Pack. So for this figure, all I did was I started off by weathering him with a sort of a dark beigey tan style colour, and then I dry brushed over with a muddy brown, and then just lightly dappled on some green after that to give him the look like he'd been in a forest environment, and then just added the blood splatters on for that extra sort of battle worn look. And then for the scarf itself, if I just take the helmet off so you can see that a bit better, I literally just cut that out of an old piece of fabric, hole punched a hole in the middle for where the neck would be, and just put that on the figure. And then coming around to the side, you can see I've just continued the same thing on the back. Now the camera is picking up the back of the figure as a more greeny tinge, but it's actually got more of a beige tinge to it. I don't know why it's picking that up like that. I've tried changing my lighting and my camera settings, but it just won't make a difference for some reason. But the colour of the back of the Stormtrooper is more close to the colour of the Sand Troopers than it is to the green that's actually showing on the camera. The second trooper here is based on the Imperial Jump Trooper that we got in the Star Wars Battlefront Battle Pack a few years ago. Again, I've done exactly the same thing as the last one. I weathered him with a sort of a light tan colour, and then the brown. I didn't put any green on this figure because I want it to be more sort of a muddied figure. And then I just sort of put the blood smears round where the battle chips are pre-printed on the armour from the Jump Trooper. And then if we turn him round, you can see I have added a few paint details onto the backpack itself, as well as continuing the weathering onto the back side of the figure. And then this trooper's weapon it's a custom blaster pistol with a barrel extension which you can fit on, which changes the weapon from looking like this to looking like this for long and short range combat. Next up here we have the Heavy Trooper. This is another trooper I made the scarf piece for just out of a piece of fabric. I did it exactly the same way. I just cut it out, folded it on and put the hole through for the neck piece, and then adjusted it till I thought it looked right. This figure I've added some orange markings on. I'm fully aware that the helmet design is actually the helmet design of a Imperial Incinerator Trooper, but I just thought it looked good on the figure, and you can almost imagine that his helmet got badly damaged in a battle or something, and he's just sort of picked up this one because it was just the spare one that was available at the time and hasn't got around to changing it. And for this figure I've given him a heavy blaster cannon which looks like this. It is based on the Havoc cannon, which is seen more in the Old Republic era, but I just thought it fitted the style of this figure a bit better. And the custom weapons that I'm using are from Firestar Toys. It's a great website, I would recommend them. I'm not sponsored or anything, I'm just saying that if you want some custom parts or to buy any bits that you need, I recommend it. It's a good place to go to get those. And then for the weathering for this figure, I did exactly the same thing. I put a layer of the tan colour, sort of sandy tan colour underneath, but then instead of dry brushing or mottling the brown, I decided to fleck it on a bit more so it looked more like armour chips than just mud. And then you can see I haven't done it quite as much on the back of the figure as I have the front, but you can see I've continued it over onto the back of the helmet. Then for the penultimate figure here, this is the sniper of the group. He is again painted onto one of the Rogue One Battle Pack figures, so just a standard Stormtrooper. This figure I got one of the half Rebel Troopers with the goggles on the hats. I removed the goggles, I painted them black, and then I glued them onto his helmet. And then the hood piece I made out of the same piece of fabric I made the two neck pieces from. That was a bit more challenging to do. I ended up having to find a template online to base that off, but I think it worked out okay. And then I've done the same with the weathering as the other figures, the tan and then the brown. As you can see, I've put the orange markings on this figure as well, just to sort of add a bit more detail to him. This is the only figure I actually painted the pouches on his belt for. And then looking at the side of this figure, you can see the markings I did on his left arm, and then on the hands to represent sort of the armour piece they have on the back of the hand. And then at this angle you can also see I've added some of the tan colour to weather the hood a bit more as well. And then coming around to the back, you can see I've just continued the weathering on the back as well. And here we have the final figure of the group. This one is the commander or captain of the group, and he was also based on the jump trooper from the Battlefront Battle Pack a few years ago. But for him, I didn't include his jump pack. Instead, if I turn him around quickly, what I did for this figure is I cut the backpack away from the helmet on a old snowtrooper figure and glued that on and then weathered it with the rest of the figure. Then coming back round to the front of the figure, you can see I did a lot more blood markings on this figure than I did on the others. And then I put the handprint on the top right hand side of his helmet. And if I just angle him round a bit, you can get a closer look at the handprint there. And then I've just done the same for the rest of the figure, with the which is just the tan followed by the brown on top. And then obviously for his pauldron round the side here, I just did a few flecks of brown on that to make it look like it's been on him for quite a while. It's not a new addition to his armour. And then just look at the other side of the blood and mud marks I've put on the arm and the helmet. And there we go. That has been a showcase of my 5 custom veteran Stormtrooper minifigures. I've got a few more custom figures to showcase coming up. I've got a Battlefront 2 Phase 1 Jump Trooper showcase to do. I've got a Incinerator Trooper, and I've got an Rebel Defector Stormtrooper figure to showcase coming up, as well as a few more of my Clone Battalion, which I'm doing that I mentioned at the start of the video. If you enjoyed this, please do leave a thumbs up and leave any comments down below for any suggestions on upcoming figures that I could do. And if you enjoyed it and you'd like to see more videos like this, do subscribe to Cobra 1386, and I will see you guys in the next video.